think this is the last question. I think this one is the last question. They want us to find, listen, the value of P. We need to find the value of P. If it is given that the length of AC, we have the length of AC as what? As 4 the root 5. So now guys, to find, remember, we can check the, let's check the question first. P is on point A. They want us to find that P. If it is given the length, guys, I'm going to underline the length. How do we find the length of the length of 2 points? So the length of AC, we're going to find it using the equation, the distance formula. We say x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. We just have to substitute what we are given, then solve for P. Okay, let me quickly do this one so that you guys can understand what is going on 1.2.4. 1.2.4. Now I'm going to say A, the coordinate of A is P is to what? The coordinate of A is P is to P and 1. So the coordinate of A is P and 1. And what about the coordinate of C? We said C is 6. I still remember the coordinate is 6 and minus 3. Let's go and confirm. 6 and minus 3. Nice. So now remember, if this can be my x1, y1. This can be my x2, y2. So I'm going to use the distance formula to count the length of AC. So the distance formula is equals to x2 minus x1, everything squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared. So now AC, if we can go back to the problem, it was given as 4 the root of 5. So that is our AC. So where there's AC, I'm going to sub in 4 the root 5, which is equals to, now, guys, ladies and gents, if you can name your points as x1 and x1, y1, x2, y2, you won't have a problem when you do what? When you do substitution. So I always prefer to take the first letter as my first point because I'm moving from point A to point C. So A comes first. I'm going to call it x1. And even if you say your first point is C, but you're still going to get the correct answer, the same answer. But I always prefer to take the first point as what? I always prefer to take the first point as my point 1. So now, I'm going to say my x2, which is 6. So I'm going to have this as, this one should be 6. Okay, this should be 6. So this should be 6 minus what? This should be 6 minus x1, which is P. This should be squared plus y2 is negative 3 minus y1, which is 1 squared. So I'm going to work this thing out step by step. I don't have to, I need to take my time on this one. So now I have to expand. Can you see the 6 minus P squared? I need to expand this thing and write it as 6 minus P into 6 minus P. So 6 times 6, this will give us what? 36. I'm doing the FOIL method. 6 times negative P, this will give us negative 6P. Minus P times 6, this will give us minus 6P. Then minus P times minus P will give us positive P squared. So if we add the like terms, this will be 36 minus 12P plus P squared. So where there's X minus P squared, I'm going to substitute this as 36 minus 12P plus 12. Right, now I know that minus 3 minus 4, minus 3 minus 1 will give us negative 4. So if we square that, we're going to get positive 16. We still have to add the like terms, put this thing in standard form. Right, we need to put this because we see that this is a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation, and then now if I put this thing in standard form, I can write the P squared first. Therefore, now I need to write the one that has the variable as P, so it's minus 12 which will be the next one, minus 12p. Now 36 plus 16. These are the like terms. We need to add them, and they'll give us 52. So now my next step, guys, is to remove the SAT, because there's nothing that I can do with this guy. I need to square both sides. Right. So the square root cancels. This side, I just have p squared minus 12p plus 52. So guys, let's talk about this one. Remember, you did the SATs, né? So to solve the 4 root 5 squared, this can be written as what? 4 squared into root 5 squared. Someone can prefer to do what? To just punch the calculator. Yes, even if you punch the calculator, it's fine. So now remember, why am I saying this is equal to that? Because if I have A times B, if I have this, I know this will be A squared, B squared. So 4 squared, we know it's 16. Therefore, the root will cancel here. The 2 will cancel with that one. So it's 16 times 5, which will give us 80. So this should give us 80. So now, I still have to write this thing in standard form. So in a quadratic form, I need to write this thing in a quadratic form. So what I'm going to do is that I can say 80, or I can say p squared minus 12p. Now the 80 will come on the other side to be negative. So this is 52 minus 80. Right, 52 minus 80. Therefore, we only left with 0. So if we put this thing in standard form, I'll have this as negative 28. It's equal to 0. So now I can factorize this. How am I going to factorize? I'm going to look for the factors of 28. So the factors of 28, that when I add or subtract them, they should give me a middle term of 12. And those factors, it's what? Is 2 and 14. 2 times 14 is 28. So now I'm looking for these two. When I add them or subtract them, they must give us what? They must give us negative 12. And the best way to find negative 12 is to say 2 minus 14. This will give us negative 12. So this tells you that inside the bracket, your 2 should be positive. So if we factorize this, we're going to have this as p. The 2 is positive and the 14 is negative. Therefore, the value of p is minus 2, or the value of p is minus 14. So guys, listen. Let's go back to the question. They said solve the value of p. Let's check. Remember that there is a reason why they told us that A lie in the second quadrant. They are trying to tell you that the x coordinates of p should be positive. So now we can conclude and say that this will be negative, this will be positive 14. Therefore, we can do what? I'm not sure. Did we factorize this correctly? P minus 14, P. Okay. So if we factorize this, So let's go back to the question. We said that it lies in second quadrant and the x in second quadrant are negative. So since the x are negative, p should be negative 2. P is equal to minus 2. So this is how you find the value of 2. Right. So guys, I just want to check, are you all with me on this one? Are you happy with this problem? Are you sure, guys? Please.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Let us now move to the next question.